want to talk about my hot takes, One Tree Hill edition. So first off, Dan is a bad, the worst character. No, he's third worst after Derek and Nettie Carey. I feel like the redemption arc that they tried to create for him would have made sense if he didn't Keith. You know? I feel like, speaking of Keith and Quentin were the most unnecessary passings on the show. Those were not necessary. They still piss me off. They still hurt me. Every single time I rewatch it, I cry every single time I rewatch those episodes. Saying that Lucas Scott is just as bad as Dan Scott is absolutely insane. Y'all are insane for that statement. And not in a good way. Like, what? What do you mean he's just as bad as Dan Scott? Dan Scott, the one that his brother? Dan Scott that is manipulative. Like, Lucas is a bad boyfriend. Never have Lucas as a boyfriend. But as a friend, except for he was a little bit like Simon, but as a friend, Lucas is always there for his friends. He goes above and beyond for his friends. Get out of my face with that. Don't sit here and say that. Don't sit here and lie and be like, he is just as bad as Dan Scott. No, he's not as bad as Dan Scott. He's not the greatest boyfriend, and he's not the best character on the show, but he's not as bad as Dan Scott. Rewatching season 9, I don't rewatch the final 3 seasons that often, but the season 9, the Dan and Chris Keller duo is a surprisingly funny duo. They're funny as hell. I'm sorry, they're funny duo. I kind of love them as a duo. Which says Jake Jakowski as a character deserved better. I feel like they didn't appreciate his character the way that they should have. The last episode he's in is Peyton and him, Peyton says we should get married, and then she says, "I love you, Lucas," in her sleep. And then that's it. That's the end, and then he narrates the episode of Nathan and Haley, having the thing that Brooke did for them, the recreating the moments, their love moments before they get married again. That's the last moment we see Jake. That's it. That's the wrap of his character. And, his character already goes through so much in the show. I think they just should have done better with his character. I absolutely hate the season 9 plotlines. Because, what do you mean Nathan gets taken? What do you mean Clay forgets he has a son? There's a lot of out-of-pocket things that happen on One Tree Hill. Those were the most ridiculous plotlines ever. You could tell they were, running out of ideas, and, the show probably should have wrapped earlier than it did, but they kept getting approved for more seasons. Finding out the fact that Hillary and Chad were both willing to come back for, episodes, maybe not, be main characters, but, they were just, never called. I know they had issues with the showrunners, not, But finding out the fact that they were both down to come back for episodes throughout the final 3 seasons, just the fact that they, never got the calls to be hey, you want to, come in for these, film for the couple episodes, pisses me off. I feel like there was episodes that they should have been in. Brooke's wedding. When Nathan and Haley have their second baby. When Nathan gets taken, I know Lucas comes back for 5-10 minutes of screen time, and the only scene he's seen is in the airport. He also doesn't say goodbye to Nan. And I know that's a thing too. It kind of bothers me that they never wrap this. Or I get, if they were going to give him redemption, and they were going to have Nathan forgive him, they should have done something with Lucas, at least not for him to, maybe not hate him as much as he did. Maybe not full redemption with Lucas, obviously. I don't believe we're not doing that. But there should have been something. And, also, when Brooke has that trial, that's the thing. It's I feel like there should have been episodes where they came back for him, and they just didn't do that. In the finale, they should have been there in the finale. At least. They should have given Haley more solo storylines. I feel like they introduce her character, and they don't give her much of a... I don't want to say they don't give her much character, because they do, but I feel like they don't give her many solo storylines. Every single thing revolves Nathan. Even, her... I feel like season 1 is the only time where, the entire first season, she's the reason why Nathan gets that, character growth. And the only 2, solo plotlines they have is, her music career, which... The way that they handled that in season 2 was just not it. And then the other one was when her mom passed, and, when she went through those, really bad... She was in a really bad place mentally. I think those were the only episodes that they had that were, solo Haley plotlines that, really talk about her as a character. And I feel like in all the rest of the scenes, every single one of her stories are always revolving around Nathan. She never has her own storylines that talk about her as a character, which bothers me. I don't really care for Lucas. I don't like the way that they wrote them. I feel like, come season 1, Lucas has always been in love with Peyton. That's been the established storyline. When he was a freshman or something, he had a crush on Peyton. That's established throughout the whole show. So, Peyton and him are about to, do the thing. And then, like, he goes, I've been waiting for this. And, like, he kind of sort of confesses love. And then she's like, backs up, like, nope. Beep, 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 beep. So then, like, he tries it with Brooke after that. He tries to be Brooke. And not in, like, a relationship-y way. I feel like he sees Brooke as someone he has fun with. And Brooke falls for him for real. And, like, the minute Peyton gives him time of the day to, you know, be more than friends, he jumps at the opportunity. Not even thinking of Brooke, who's his girlfriend. And is the best friend of the person you're... I also don't like to necessarily love the fact that Brooke went after Lucas, knowing that Peyton didn't want to admit her feelings to Luke, but, like, she knew. Okay, so, like, that's this. So, like, clearly Lucas doesn't feel like that. He doesn't love. And then suddenly we come back, season 2, and suddenly he's in love with Brooke. Bro, what? What? Suddenly he's in love with Brooke after he was okay. Like, that's, like, you know, and the way that they finally sort of get together, and then, like, she cheats on him with Chris Keller. Really? Like, he wants to be faithful. She's like, no, no, no. And then they finally, like, are getting on the verge where they're probably going to be faithful. And then, like, she finds the stuff of, like, he reminds himself, like, so he doesn't make the same mistake as before. And then Brooke hooks up with Chris Keller. And then the breakup is because, like, on the day of the school, you know, Peyton kisses him because, like, she thinks she's no longer, you know, which very well could have been the fact. So, like, getting mad at that was just not. I don't think Peyton should have told her that he still has feelings for Lucas, though. But her getting mad at Lucas for that was bizarre to me. But, like, she, you know, I don't know why. Peyton should have just kept that to herself. Like, that's my thing. It's like, and then she breaks up with Lucas because, like, she realized she doesn't actually like Lucas that way anymore. I'm like, okay. And then him and Peyton get closer, and then they eventually, whatever. But it's like, I don't like the way they read that. I really don't. I know it's a teen drama, and that's why they read the way, but I'm like, I feel like him and Brooke would have been better as friends, platonic best friends. I feel like if they maybe had a thing for 5 minutes and they realized that, like, we're better off as friends, and that was the end of it. You know. My 2 favorite relationships on the show, relationship, whatever. Brotherhood is the Brotherhood, the few. It's actually top 3. These are friendships and relationships. Is number 1 is Nelly, obviously. Nathan and Haley will always have my heart. I don't necessarily love all the plot lines they do. You know, I don't care for the cheating plot line they do in season 2. I don't care for the Nanny Carey weird plot line. Suddenly I'm like, I don't care for that either. But the rest of them, I really do adore them. I feel like they're one of my favorite couples of all time. Lucas and Haley's friendship is actually my 3rd favorite. You know, they have moments in season 1 where they, like, butt heads, but, like, for the most part, they have such a beautiful friendship. And then Lucas and Nathan's brotherhood is literally the thing that I, like, love. Every single time I rewatch the show, I love watching their brotherly moments. It's, like, one of my favorite things, which is why I feel like following season 6, I don't love the final 3 seasons, because I feel like the show is not the same without Lucas and Peyton. You know, I feel like, you know, you missed out on the key fact. The thing that I missed the most is the Lucas and Nathan brotherhood, which I feel like is what really makes the show, other than the Nathan Lucas brother. And, like, the thing is, the reality of it is, the story starts with Lucas. Nathan and Haley never would have gotten together if Lucas didn't join the basketball team. You know, Brooke and Haley would have never been friends if it wasn't for Lucas joining the basketball team. And, like, that's the thing, the whole story kind of revolves around Lucas. Eventually, it cut us off into being all 5 of them. But I feel like the story's not the same without Lucas and Peyton. And I feel like they're severely missed. And I feel like the show kept it going for longer than necessary. And nothing against Clay and Quinn. Like, I don't hate their characters. I just feel like they don't really stand out to me, personally.